Hello, my art geniuses. Welcome back to Art a la Carte. And today we're going to be drawing an axolotl. Your supplies you're going to need is paper, an eraser, a pencil, and something to darken your lines in, either a marker or a pen. Now, before we jump into the actual drawing of our axolotl, we're going to go over some of the shapes that we're going to use. And the first one is a circle. Now, circles can be kind of tricky if you don't know how to approach them. And there's two things about drawing circles. One is don't try for a perfect circle. Those can be really hard. So you'll see I'm drawing really loose circles and I'm drawing them all sorts of different shapes, because this is the second thing, is that you need to practice drawing your circles. When I draw things, I'll often warm up by doing some practice circles or sketching lines. And so I'll just fill a piece of paper full of all sorts of circles. It looks like I'm drawing Cheerios and things like that. But it can really help me to get a good circle. Now, with these circles, you want to make sure that they are circles and not ovals. So if you see your circle kind of becoming ovalish, just, keep on drawing it until you get that nice round circle. After you have your circle shape figured out, we're going to morph that into a slightly different shape, which I like to call the dough ball shape. And this is a circle that has a little weight to it. So if you think about making bread or any kind of baked goods and you have that dough and you set it down, it gets a little flat on the bottom where gravity is pulling your dough down. And so you're going to have like a flat tire almost. Now, you don't want a sharp pointy edges to your flat. It's all still nice and rounded, but just a little bit of a flat line towards the bottom. The top part's going to be nice and arched. Just like with your circle, you're going to want to practice your dough balls. Don't draw the same dough ball over and over, but draw a whole bunch of them. Draw some big ones, draw some tilted ones, draw some really lumpy ones. You'll have some that look better than others and others that might not be so great. And that's okay, because that's what practicing is for. Now, dough ball shapes are really fun, especially if you like to draw cute animals. You can easily change them into faces. A couple other shapes that we're going to be using is the U shape and a wavy line, but they're pretty self-explanatory. All right, let's get ready to draw our axolotl. I'm going to start off with a large dough ball shape. This is going to be for the head of my axolotl, so I'm going to make sure that I place it in the paper where I have lots of room to work on the body below it, and also leave room on the sides for his little, they look like little antenna flipper fins. So make sure you have it placed in the right spot. Now for the body, I'm going to use a circle shape. I'm going to make that circle shape smaller than the head of my axolotl. This is going to give it the extra cute factor, but you can play with the proportions of these shapes and will change how your axolotl looks. I want to make sure that he has a little bit of a neck, so I'm going to thicken the neck part where it connects to the head just a little bit before we move on to the tail. Now, when drawing the tail, I'm going to create a stick line for the tail. Like if you draw a stick figure and you just draw like a line for the arms and the legs, I'm going to do that, but for the tail. And because I'm using a pencil to draw with, I can erase all these lines I need to. So I might try to draw it one or two times before I get it just the way I like it. When I go to draw the tail itself, I'm going to use a tapered line. When the tail is connected to the body, it's going to be thicker. And as it comes down to the tip, it's going to get more narrow. So it's going to be like this wavy triangular shape. Let's move on to the arms, which I'm just going to represent with tiny little circles. These are going to be like his little fists. And you can move them around a little bit. So I had them placed a little bit lower on my picture, and I want them up kind of in front of his face, so I moved those. Also, a great reason to draw with pencils so that you can move his little hands around. Don't worry about getting into super big detail like fingers and things like that. We will cover that in a little bit. We're just getting all of our pieces put in the right place. Speaking of pieces, let's put in his little back feet, and for those I'm going to use more of an elongated oval shape that I'm going to then connect to the body, and that's going to be that little bit of a U shape. So either you can draw just a U shape, or like me, draw those ovals that are overlapping the body and then erase the lines that you don't need. So his body is pretty much there. With this shape, there's a lot of things that you could draw with this. You could make it an alligator or a crocodile. You could make it a dinosaur or any kind of lizard, but we're gonna make ours an axolotl. So let's think about the details that go into making our cute axolotl. And those are his little flippery fin things up by his head. He reminds me of Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. For positioning, I'm going to use, again, that stick figure method. I'm just going to place some lines where I want those little finny flipper things to be to make sure I like them before I start working on drawing them out. And once they're where they're supposed to be, then I'm going to thicken them up using that U shape. Remember, you can change however you want them to look. Some of them can be a little bit longer than others, some of them a little bit shorter. Once everything in the body is kind of where you want it, now we can work on marking out where we want the face to be. I'm going to give myself some guidelines. The first guideline is going to go from top to bottom, and this is going to divide the face in half. So one eye is going to go on one side and one eye is going to go on the other side. The next line is going to be a horizontal line side to side, and that's going to be where my eyes are. And this one is fun to play with. So if you place your eye line up high, you're going to have a much bigger area to draw his mouth and cheeks. If you place it really low, you're going to have a really big forehead, which gives it that baby look. I'm going to go not quite in the middle, so I'm still having that nice big forehead, but I have room for his cheeks and mouth. Now, how close you put his eyes together is completely up to you. So at first I have them a little bit closer, and I thought, no, I want to give him that nice wide mouth, because if I look at pictures of axolotls, they have this really cute mouth. So I pushed them apart a little bit farther than I first did. And again, drawing with pencil allows us to do that. The mouth you could have any way you want. You could have just a simple little smiling face, or you could have an angry face. I'm going to give him an open smile, and for this I'm going to use what I think looks like a banana shape. Do they have teeth? I'm not certain. Mine does. I'm going to go ahead and draw that. Now you can see I erased it because I didn't quite like it and I want to try again. If there's something about your drawing that you're not overly fond of, it's okay to try again. Don't get frustrated, because we all have to redraw things. Take a deep breath, erase it, and then try again. Sometimes I will do a sketch 2, 3, 4 times before I get one that I finally like. Now when drawing his eyes, I'm just going to make nice big circles, but I want to give him those cheeks, so I'm going to cut off just the bottom part of that circle, making it like that dough ball shape, and that looks like he's smiling and pushing his little cheek muscles up. I'm even going to make him winking, so I'm going to close one eye. You don't have to make yours winking. Yours can be, again, both eyes open. You could have both eyes closed if he's a sleeping axolotl. Maybe he's napping. You could give him angry eyes, all that. Have fun making your axolotl look exactly how you want him to. The last detail I'm going to work on in this sketch is his fins and tail, and so I'm going to use a wavy line to kind of create that fin effect. Now, not all of our triangle shape that we have drawn out for the tail is going to be an actual physical tail. Some of it is more of a fin, so I'm going to cut off a little bit of that shape for his tail, and I'll use a U shape to do that, and then I will create the rest of that curved triangle to be that fin. Now, before I go into cleaning up my sketch, I want to really make sure that my picture is exactly how I want it. If there's something off with it right now, fix it during the sketch part, because once you start going in with your ink pen or marker to add in your final line, it's not going to fix it. A trick I have is to reverse my image. Now, if you're drawing this digitally, super easy. You can most digital programs has a button that you can do that flips your image, and you can check it out. If you're drawing with regular paper and pencil, you can hold it up to a mirror and it reverses that image for you, and you can see. What this does is helps you to see any places that might be off. But because you've been looking at that image for a long time, sometimes our eyes just don't see things that are off because we're used to seeing the way it is. So I noticed when I reversed the image that one of his cheeks was bigger than the other, so I was able to bring that down a little bit. Now it's time for me to go in with my ink pen and ink this in, and I'm speeding my footage up. This took me probably 45 minutes just to outline everything. You worked really hard on your sketch part. don't rush the inking. Take your time. If you get tired of drawing and you feel like rushing, just take a break, stand up, stretch. This is the part where a lot of us artists rush things and we regret it, and our sketches just don't turn out as great after they've been inked in. Whether you choose to draw your axolotl digitally or traditionally, there is so many different variations that you can do, and the inking process is really how your style and the way you want to create things is going to push through. So the way I draw eyes might not be the way you want to draw your eyes. The way I make my lines, how they go thick to thin in areas, might be something you want to try, or maybe you have a different way that you like to draw yours. My biggest suggestion is be creative and see what you can make. The coloring process is super fun, but also really long. It took me about 3 hours to color my axolotl, and I didn't record it because this would have been a very long video. But if you'd like to see a video on how I color things, let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoy drawing fun, cute cartoon creatures, I highly recommend that you jump over to this video. If you're brand new to my channel, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future videos. And as always, thank you guys for hanging out with me. This has been so much fun drawing an axolotl with you. I'd love to see what you're creating, so you can follow me on social media and tag me in your art photos. So until next time, guys, God bless you guys, keep being creative, and we'll see you in the next art video. Bye-bye!